presentation from the advanced manual here, and it's presenting a paper written by other people. And today's paper is called Approaching Mobile, Understanding the 3 Ways to Build Mobile Apps by Todd, Anglin, Telerik, EVP of Cross-Platform Tools and Services. Pretty good story. All right, so at a glance, what we'll be talking about is the 3 ways of making mobile applications. You can make a website, whether with responsive web design or a mobile website. You can make a native application, and they kind of subclass the idea of cross-platform because, well, it's a native application. It's just written in a way that can be displayed on multiple devices. And, of course, hybrid, somewhere in between. So, web. We can have 2 different kinds of mobile applications using web technology. Just a basic website. You can have responsive website, which is the exact same website that is served up to desktop being served to mobile. And you use CSS to display the site differently. So maybe your navigation, maybe your left navigation all of a sudden becomes top navigation, something like that. Or the whole drawer idea, the little button, go to mine, click on it, and all your navigation things pop up from the side, that kind of thing. Or you can have a separate mobile website. You have the exact same back end, but you have a different front end. So when you try to go to a site on your phone, you get a different website showing different content. And frequently you'll see that it is m.whatever-your-site-is.com instead of www. The takeaway quote here is, web is one of the most familiar and fastest ways to reach mobile users. Looking at the pros and cons, I'll just go over a few because there's a lot. But anyway, so a few of the more important ones, very familiar, very low developer learning curve. If your developers know how to write websites, therefore if they write it using responsive web design or maybe a separate mobile website, all of a sudden you can reach your mobile users. Easy to deploy, you don't have to install anything, you just put it out at the server and people go to your site. You have to upgrade, anything like that. Things like that. Easy to reusable code and maximum reach users. Everybody who has a smartphone, has a browser, they can get to your site. See with the cons, limited access to device hardware and APIs. So if you actually want to use the device features rather than just make a website, like if you want to take a picture or something, you really can't with a mobile site or a website that uses the web design. And it requires an internet connection because the application isn't installed on the machine. But you have to get it through the internet. There are a few more, but those are the more important ones. Second way is native. Now, when you say native, what you mean is developed with the native tools in mind and meant for working on that one platform. So you use Xcode to make an iPhone app, Java to make an Android app, C# make a phone app, that kind of thing. The application that you built was for just one platform. You use one language, IDE, and skill set per platform. If you want your app to work on multiple platforms, you have to write it multiple times. This is by far the highest cost, and it is by far the longest time to develop your app. But it is also the best possible end product. You can't get better than native development. And that might be the only thing that matters. And of course, that's complete device support. You want to access the camera, you want to access your accelerometer, guess what? You can't. You're exposed to it. It's very easy to do that. Cross-platform is kind of a subset. It's still a native app, but it runs on multiple platforms. Right? It wants to work on multiple things. I've talked about that quite frequently. It's not optimized for this platform. It's written in popular languages like C# or JavaScript, that kind of thing. So usually you have more people that can write them. And it has good device API support. It depends on the framework. Sometimes you get partial support, sometimes you get almost complete support. Almost on par with native development. The takeaway quote here is, if something can be done on a mobile device, then native app will close the seamless limits. Don't jump into hoops. You don't have to write a separate module to include in your app. You can access it with native development. Pros, complete access to the device and hardware APIs. Pros to the web, which is pretty much nothing. Let's see here. Maximum control over performance. Instead of worrying about the kind of a cross-platform look and feel or a web look where everything looks the same on all devices, things like that. You can say this app is going to be installed on an iPhone, so we're going to make it work a little bit differently than an Android. That kind of thing. Cons, well, of course, the most powerful, best way of doing it is also very big important pro. Might be the only one you care about. Cons, multiple multiple implementations required to reach multiple platforms. You have to write the exact same code to reach a different kind of device. You need more people with different skill sets, different programming languages, cost the most, and it takes the most time to develop. So definitely things to consider. A hybrid is the term used for a locally installed website that is wrapped in something that allows you to talk to the device. So you use web technology, but you do get some access to the device. You don't know the framework for this phone yet. You haven't heard it. So, in general, it is a locally installed website, so you have the website installed on your device instead of having to access the internet. It's housed in a native browser, whatever one happens to be the native one for your device. So every smartphone has a native browser and can run an app that is a hybrid app. Use web technologies like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, that kind of thing. And you actually have an API so you can talk to the device. So PhoneGap, for example, you can take a picture. You can give up a native alert. Wow, truly native alert. You can access the content. You can edit them. You can check the geolocation, things like that. Takeaway quote from the paper here is, hybrid development is best used when the requirements of an app exceed the limits of a web, but do not demand full power of native. So, you like the idea of writing a website, but you really do need to get that camera. Your idea for an app is really, really important for you to be able to take pictures, post them to whatever your site is all about. So you really need to be able to do that kind of thing. But you know what? You're like, you know what? If I make a PhoneGap app, it'll cost me $5,000. If I make fully native apps that are really awesome, it'll cost me $1 million. So, I like a native app, but maybe just a little out of my price. So, choosing the right approach. There are a few different things that they documented as being really important. When you're trying to figure out, when you're going through your determination of which things to choose, if I could ask you to pass those sheets there around, there's a nice little chart they made of it's kind of a decision-making tree. And it helps you determine which approach to use. So you have to ask yourself a few things. You need to determine your audience. You need to get your budget time constraints. Like I said, sure, I want a native app, but I don't have $1 million. Guess that's all right. Figure out your target platform. Are you going to make an iPad app? Are you going to make an Android app, a Windows Phone app? Figure out which platforms you're going to target. Look at the developers that work for you and figure out their skill set. Do they know Java? Do they know Objective-C? That kind of thing. Device access. What kind of access to device do you need in your app? Kind of important. And when you're getting to a different project, determine a completely different approach. You don't need to say, well, we made a PhoneGap app last time, we're just going to make a PhoneGap app this time. Maybe you're working for an enterprise, and this is your flagship product, and it is worth millions and millions of dollars. Maybe you want to go the native approach on that. And then maybe you're like, well, actually, we don't need to talk to the device at all. Maybe we'll just make a website. Use this website, that kind of thing. So that creates a chart there will help you figure that one out. I'd like to go over it, though. All right. The takeaway quote for this here is, any strategy that attempts to develop all apps using one approach will ultimately force inefficient development decisions, waste development time and money, and limit the flexibility of an organization. If you say, we're always going to make this an Xamarin app, you could be in line of trouble. Maybe you're going to go way over the top when all you really needed was take your current website, throw Twitter bootstrap in it, and all of a sudden it works for you. Or maybe you think, you know what, first you go PhoneGap for everything, and then you make these apps that are just below par, really subpar for your target demographic, and you end up losing a lot of business to more powerful apps. Here's that crazy thing. I'll give you about 5 seconds to take it in. Now that you've grokked it up the whole thing and totally understand how to get where you need to get. Conclusion. Mobile development is very complex and it's very disruptive. It changes all the time. There's new things to talk about constantly. Your apps change all the time. They're expanding different and going different design routes all the time. But even though mobile development is very complex, the core software development principles still apply. Even if it's ever changing everything, you still have to use the exact same core principles. Every app is very unique. So one approach may not work for the next project. Keep that in mind. You're not finding a silver bullet. You're not finding something that will solve all your problems. You're trying to solve one problem at a time with a completely different new element all the time. Especially changing landscape, you want to make sure that you're always reevaluating the situation, right? So if you made a decision in 2009 about your mobile strategy, then a whole bunch of new things have come about and exist that didn't exist before, and you're still using the same 5-year-old approach, you're going to have trouble. You have to intelligently deliver the right result, and you have to diversify to deliver all of your projects on time and on budget and meet all of your goals. If you want to look at the white paper, here's the link. It is pretty sensitive, so you want to read it. And that's all I got. So I'll turn it back over to Todd.
I'm so engaged I forgot to come back up. Very nice done. I'm off daydreaming about phone gas now. Okay, so where are we going now? Let's do our general evaluation.